see, what's this video about? Things that you should not say to a hotel clerk. Let me tell you why. The reason's actually pretty simple. It's not really much that you can say to a hotel clerk that they haven't heard before. Now, if it's positive, by all means, let it flow. You know, some of us are from the day when our fathers used to say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Remember those days? What happened to those days? Nowadays it's like somebody's got a turd they want to get out of their mouth. You know, they just let it flow. But a lot of these there's good reasons for. So I guess I'll just get the ball rolling here. Now, this was originally going to be 10 things. I lost the 10th thing, but I think I'm going to add it at the end. Number one. Okay. Don't ask the hotel clerk when you check in or at any other point, you know, if the hotel has had problems with bed bugs in the past. And honestly, I mean, this should be something that you're able to figure out on your own. I mean, do your homework. I mean, how much you paying to stay there? You know, if you're paying, you know, if you won the hotel room on the underside of a soda cap, or I don't know, you're paying like, you know, $15 plus tax for the room, you know, you generally get what you pay for. It'd be a lot like going out with somebody you found on the street. I mean, if you find out they have lice, are you really surprised? I mean, not picking on homeless people, but you know what I'm saying, like, you know, generally the price of something has something to do with the quality of what you're getting. You know, if the car that you just picked up was, you know, $29.99, that's $29.99. Safe to say the only drive you're going to get out of it is probably off the guy's yard that you bought it from. It's probably not going to go any further than that. But the reason why it's a dumb question to ask is because you're probably not going to get an honest answer, because the hotel cannot be honest with that information, because it's one of those cheesy, like, Nicolas Cage, you know, need-to-know basis kind of plots in the movie. Like, you don't need to know that, because if the hotel is honest and says, oh yeah, you know, in the past we've had problems, but, you know, we took care of them, you're going to say, oh my God, like, you know, well, gee, once an infestation, always an infestation. So it's like, people, and I've had people who come in, and I don't work in hotels anymore, thank God, but I spent 5 years doing it. And people would come in and they would say, oh, have you had bed bugs? Oh, of course, you know, no, we haven't. And then they'd come downstairs with, like, a ladybug. Oh my God, I found one. It was, oh God, it's a lady, you know, I mean, it's a bed bug. It's a lady bed bug. But I mean, people will find anything, a spider, a dead wasp, and they're like, I found a bed bug. So I mean, if you're looking for it, of course you're gonna find it. You know, they probably found a hair somewhere in the room and they thought it was a bed bug, but it's annoying. But I mean, that's the main reason. Don't ask, because you're not gonna get an honest answer. Because, you know, if the guy's inexperienced or doesn't care, they're gonna say no. And I guarantee you, like, the reason it's a dumb question is because I bet you, like, almost every hotel out in the world has at some point, because it's not something that they can stop. You know, you come in, you give them your name, you give them your credit card, they give you your keys, you're good. They don't say, okay, now step in the back and I'll just snap my glove on and we will examine you and you're good to go. I mean, there's no examination. You know, they don't run you through some kind of screening process. Okay, no bed bug, you good. I mean, no, they let you in. And unfortunately, all that matters is the money. If you've got the money, you got a room. But I can't say unfortunately. I mean, they're not allowed to discriminate against you. So, you know, like, you can't be surprised it's not the hotel's fault. People bring that stuff in with them. So, it's a dumb question to ask. And I think if people could use that information responsibly, they would get, you know, they'd get a more honest answer. But that's why it's a dumb question, because, you know, and on top of that, it's a rude question. You know, can you imagine, like, being out on a first date with somebody? You know, you just met them, and you sit down and they go, so, have you ever had any, you know, genital problems? And you're going to be like, Oh, no? No! 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 Of course not. You know, no. No. I mean, you're probably not going to get an honest answer. I mean, maybe that's an instance where somebody should be honest, but that's not really first date material. You know, it's just... I don't know. At least that's a good comparison, I thought. Alright, let's move on to number 2. Try to understand that the person working the desk is not your personal servant, okay? But somebody working. Okay, have you ever been doing work and somebody that maybe you're related to or your friend or somebody keeps pestering you and all you want to do is your job. Like, that's it. It's like, go away. You know, like, I'm here by myself right now, so there's nobody to bother me. But it'd be like somebody, you know, can you imagine like seeing my mother, you know, like in the background somewhere, you know, is this your plate? Whose fork is this? Not mine. But I mean, it'd be obnoxious. I'd be like, go away, now I have to edit this. Or I could just leave it in there. But nothing like that's going to happen. I don't have a cat, you know, that's going to be, you know, in the background. But my point is, though, is that this person's trying to do something. You know, they don't just go in and say, all right, I'm punched in. Now we play the waiting game. I'm here till somebody needs something. You know, that's like implying, although I'm sure it's not a stretch from the truth, that police officers have absolutely nothing to do. Well, gee, I wish somebody would rob a bank or jaywalk or something, so I had something to do. Oh, I wish a traffic light would break, so I could go direct traffic. You know, it's like, no, these people are probably doing work. And every time you interrupt that process, you're taking them away from what they need to be doing. And I mean, to kind of give you an idea, like what you be asking yourself before you go and bother that clerk. I use the word bother because that's what it turns into after a while. Whether they let it show or not. That's hospitality for you. Punch me in the face! I'm just going to smile at you. Thank you, sir. But anyways, the reason I use the word bother is because half the time it's a question that somebody could answer themselves. Like, excuse me, is the coffee fresh? And I bet you 9 times out of 10 the hotel clerk is sitting there going, when you put some in a cup and you splash it into your face, you know, does it burn? Oh yeah, well then, yeah, it's fresh. Or, you know, if you stick your finger in it and it's cold, you know, feels like pond water, it's probably not fresh. You know, it's kind of a dumb question. And another thing about hotel coffee is, you know, depending on where you go. I mean, have I stayed at the nicest hotels? Noisest. Listen to me. Noise! It's noise! But anyways, you know, it's complimentary coffee. So you got to understand that the people providing it, they are not going to, you know, explore the furthest reaches of the planet for the best possible coffee to brew. No, they're going to be like, give me the cheap crap. See that crate over there for a penny a pound? Give me that stuff. I want that. All right, a crate for 20 bucks? All right. Keep good for the rest of the year. Like, so don't complain that it's blah. But anyways, I'm getting off track. That person's not your personal, trying to keep swears out of this, slave? I don't know. And half the time it's questions people could ask themselves. Like, where's the best place to eat around here? And I always sat there and went, the best place? The best? I don't know. I mean, it's a dumb question. The best place. You know, and then you start rattling places off. Well, like, there's an Italian place. People go, well, there's a Mexican place. Well, how about Indian? You know, and it turns out all they want is like a stupid potato. And it's like, well, what the hell? You know, can't you say that? You know, instead they go, no, where's the best place? So, I mean, don't ask stupid questions like that. You know, look it up. You have a phone. There's usually a computer in the lobby. Don't bother the person because half the time they're doing laundry. I mean, it's an unfortunate reality, and it was bad like 10 years ago, but it's getting worse. You know, more and more places are starting to figure out, you know, why pay a houseman? Why pay a maintenance man? Why pay, you know, I think I'm forgetting somebody. You know, a second clerk when you could just have one. Oh, laundry person. That's one I left out. Why pay all these people when you can just have the desk person do it? And on top of that, they still have to make reservations and, you know, explain to people what a credit and an authorization and a debit and all that stuff. It's hell. So don't bother that person behind the counter, because they're really, even though it's a hospitality industry, believe me, they do not solely exist to answer really dumb questions. And think about that, though. Think about that. Even though everybody wants to be treated like royalty, every time you interact with them, they cannot do their work. And believe me, they have work. I have never worked in a hotel where I didn't have anything to do. Okay, this one is right along with the desk clerk. It's number 3. When the desk clerk is rattling off their spiel, okay, when you check in, you know, especially if the boss is within earshot, they're not just telling you stuff, you know, to waste your time and piss you off. This is not the ad that plays on YouTube before you can watch your video, where you go, oh, I guess I'll go to the bathroom, you know, or maybe get some chocolate milk or something. No, they're telling you about the pool, the Wi-Fi, you know, I don't know, where the elevator is, what time breakfast is, all the questions that you're going to ask as soon as you get to your room. Because all you wanted was your keys. Yeah, shut up, Mr. Clerk, can I have my keys now? You have my money, give me my keys. No. I don't care when breakfast is, I'm going to call you 45 seconds after I get in my room and ask, what do I need to know now for? But it's like, listen to this person. Like, you remember the days when we wrote things down? I mean, what happened to those? You know, nowadays we have the excuse, well, oh, I just put it in my phone. Nobody does that anyways. I mean, hell, you can even take a picture of the breakfast sign with the hours on it. But who does that? No, everybody just gets upstairs. Hey, what was the password for that Wi-Fi? Oh, I thought you said the password wasn't. Also, there isn't a password. Okay. Okay, so it's not wasn't, or isn't, or none. Oh, I tried all those. Okay, explains why it wasn't working. Or the people that don't even try. Those are my favorite. What's the Wi-Fi password? There isn't one? Oh, right, well, you know. Okay, thank you. It's like, you know, you don't even, just try it first. If it asks for a password, there probably is one. Or it's on your key packet, or they told you if you were listening. You know, and then chances are, just try to, I don't know. Listen to the desk clerk, because when they have to repeat all that information, it's like, you know, I got to the point where I wanted to make a YouTube video, and you just hand them the address, the web address. Watch this! You know, you'll save me like 35 seconds of suffering. Because when you have to explain it, you know, 78 times a day, times 2, because nobody listens, you just want to, you get sick and tired of hearing yourself talk. Alright. This is a good one. It's one of my favorite ones. Again, sticking with the desk clerk. Do not argue with the person working at the desk. Now, I know we live in this really goofy world where, you know, the customer is always right. But what people have to understand is that that's just something that businesses say because they really don't want you going and spending your money anywhere else. It's not that you're right. It's that they're just like, oh my God, do whatever it takes to get that man's dollar. Take a bullet. All right, you do that. You take that bullet, and with a smile on your face, you keep that smile on your face, okay? And take that bullet, and tell them the coffee's fresh. And if it isn't, just, you know, make some with your wound. Don't get any blood in the coffee. Jesus, wash your hands first. Don't you know anything? Oh, wait, no, keep one hand on the wound. You're leaking everywhere. But, I mean, it's like, that's just something that people say. Okay, it doesn't mean a damn thing. Okay, if you call the desk clerk, okay, but first of all, let me just say this. The hotel's going to do everything that they can to give you the things that you want, because then they don't have to deal with you. That's the secret. Okay, it's not so much about hospitality anymore as it is gimme, 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 gimme. So if a hotel gives you the things that you want, you don't bother them. That's the secret. So if you call down and say, hi, I want 16 rollaway beds, and the hotel says, well, we've only got 2. Don't argue with them. Okay, because think about what you're arguing about. Well, I want 16. And you're telling me you've only got 2? Aren't you a hotel? That was my favorite one. well, aren't you a hotel? Well, any business can run out of anything. Have you ever gone to a store and they didn't have what you want? Well, gee, because usually what you want is a physical thing. Now, I can understand the absurdity if iTunes told you, sorry, we ran out of downloads. Somebody downloaded them all. What happened? We had 500,000. Who's the bastard? Sorry, I swore. Who's the guy that downloaded all the copies of Taylor Swift's latest vomit? I don't know. But it's a physical thing. A store can run out of a physical thing. Here's an interesting one. If trucks didn't put more gasoline in the tanks underground at a gas station, guess what? You're not going to believe this. A gas station could run out of gas. A movie theater, any venue, can run out of seats. Because they can't just go, well, wait a minute, hop onto the server, punch in some code here, and, digitally add 10 more seats. No, it's physical stuff. You can't just, well, wait a minute, I'll just get my leather set out here, and I'll make you a bed out of the cowhide that I brought in. It's like, they don't have it. I remember I used to work at Price Chopper back in the day, and every time there was a lobster sale, some ding-dong would come in about 30 seconds into the day. Give me all your lobsters. No, I don't need a bag. I just backed the truck right into the store. Just throw them right in the bed, okay? And it's like, and then of course, you get that guy who comes in like as you're closing the department down. I want some lobster. What do you mean you don't have any? It's like, dude, where have you been all day? I drove here from the moon. It's like, we can run out of stuff. Well, don't you have a lake in the back? Can't you go get some more? Are you sure you don't have some upstairs? Dude, they need to be in a fucking fridge. Can you ask? What about next door? They got any? So that's a bookstore. Well, can you ask? It's like, oh, I mean, don't argue. Like, it's funny because when you have a job in a hotel, they tell you, do not argue with the guest. Don't argue with the person at the desk because it's a dumb scenario. If they're telling you, because here's what I always wanted to say to people, and I never could for as long as I worked in hotels. Something that people have to understand. Why on God's green earth would you argue with somebody for like 20 minutes about not having something when you could just give it to them in like 15 seconds and it's over, it's done, they left? Peace and quiet. Why wouldn't you? That's the stupid part about it. Don't argue with them. Take their word for it. Believe me, especially if you ask nice. It's not like you said, hey you, I want to roll away or I'm going to kill your family. It's like, if you ask nicely and they say, sorry, we just, and then use your power of observation. This is another important thing. Look outside. The parking lot's full. Or if it's nighttime, you don't have to do this. Or actually you would, because the light's going to be inside. So it'll be reflected on. Oh, busy parking lot out there today. Lots of families. Gee, I wonder if they have a crib. Probably not. So, I mean, don't argue with the person behind the front desk, because really all you're doing is you're going to be that person that they go home to their friends and family and they say, oh my God. You ever seen The Wonder Years? You want to know why Jack Arnold always came home in a bad mood? Because he didn't work for Norcom. He worked in a hotel. And that's why he always came home pissed off. Okay. Whoop. Now this kind of ties in directly with not arguing. Try and understand that, this is 5. The other one was 4. I don't know if I'm keeping with numbers here. But try to understand that requesting is not the same as getting something. You can request stuff all day long till you're blue in the face, that old saying. And the hotel, again, will always try to give you the things that you request, but you have to understand that, and this is another thing I always wanted to say to people, take some personal responsibility for yourself. If you're traveling with, husband, wife, 3 kids, and a dog, make sure in advance that the hotel's pet friendly. Okay, bring some blankets. Don't travel with a freaking huge entourage of a family and go, well, crap, we don't need to bring anything. We're staying at a hotel. They're going to have it all. I mean, because when you get there, and again, especially powers of observation, are you traveling on a busy travel weekend? So are a ton of other families. Don't Do not presume that the hotel is going to have everything that you need, no matter how absurd it is. Tidal wave maker? They'll have one. I mean, it's like, tidal wave maker, what the hell is that? But don't assume, because you're going to get there and then you're going to be really, really disappointed and angry. But then again, don't argue with the person behind the desk, because like try to understand that, you know, you can request the ground floor, but the problem with that is, let's say that a huge group of people checks in the day before you and they're staying a week. Well, guess what? They all wanted a ground floor. Well, they got it because the hotel had it. But then the next day, the ground floor is already taken up. I requested the ground floor. But try to understand that you might be on the second floor because the hotel will put you as low as they can. And you might, and I hate people who say, oh, I've been staying in hotels for like 65,000 years and that's the first time it's ever happened to me. It's like, you know what? You probably stayed in like half a hotel in your life. You know, and your freaking friend's room in college didn't count. It's a dumb thing to say because, you know, 10 times out of 10 you might experience no issues at all. If you consider an issue not getting what you want here in America. Welcome to first world here. Our problems. But that one time, you might be like, I don't want to be near the elevator. But you know what? If you booked your room online 25 minutes before you got to the hotel and you booked the last room, that's the room you're getting. Try to understand. And it doesn't matter if you made your reservation 8 months in advance. Nobody looks at your reservation until it's relevant. Do you have any idea? You'd need an army of people to stay on top of that information. Well, somebody booked a room 2 years into the future. Let's start getting it ready. It's like, how can you? No, they look at it when it's relevant, which is usually the day of. So who's leaving influences your requests. If the only room taken off is on the second floor, that's the room you get. Requesting doesn't give you anything. And again, to get back to a previous point, the hotel's going to try to give you everything that you requested so they don't have to deal with you. That's the secret. Can you imagine 100 people checking in? You got to deal with them all. I didn't get my tidal wave maker. Okay. This one's important. Number 6. I had to count on my hands. No matter how compelled you feel, this gets back to, I think, what I opened with. If you don't have anything nice to say, no matter how compelled you may feel, do not, talking too loud here, express your opinions about the hotel's condition, if they're negative. Okay? Buildings are not unlike people, cars, shoes, pants, underwear, everything. They age. Okay? If you walk in and you think the place is a dump pot, keep it to yourself. Because chances are the hotel clerk has heard it again and 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 again. Till pigs fly. I don't think that really made the kind of sense that I wanted it to. Should have used till I'm blue in the face. But anyways, moving on. Chances are the hotel desk clerk has heard it, and they're the worst person to tell. That'd be like telling a meter maid about somebody running a red light. Well, aren't you a cop? Shoot him! Oh wait, he's gone. He ran. That's right. He ran the light. He's long gone. Well, aren't you a police officer? Can't you? You can write tickets, right? Give them one. No, it's like, you know, there's a time and a place for everything. And those little cards, or even internet surveys that you get in your email. Who uses email anymore? It's like so yesterday. But anyways, there's a time and a place for all that feedback. And when you fill out those cards, your words go right to the people who have the power to make that difference. The desk clerk, again, like the whole meter maid, they don't have the power to influence the changes that you want made. Like, I worked in a hotel that didn't have an automatic opening door. I feel like I'm using sign language. For those people watching without sound, they're going to be like, is that the birth canal? What's he doing? Delivering a baby? But it didn't have an opening door. You had to open it. You know, kind of like your house. I don't understand why it was such a big deal. I don't come home and go, well, Jesus, I don't want this place. Huh, no wonder my rent went up. But it didn't make sense either. But should have went down. But anyways, people would complain about that. That was the sole thing that they based their opinion on the hotel. Hadn't seen the room, hadn't seen the pool, hadn't seen anything. But the place was a dump because, good Lord, I had to open the door. Come to think of it, I had to open the door to my car too. Is that your fault? Did your hotel design my car? Would explain why the seat's so uncomfortable. But anyways, keep it to yourself. Because telling the desk clerk, it's not going to do anything. It's like complaining to a janitor. I don't like the layout of this place. It offends me. Janitor's like, dude, I just clean toilets, man. What do you want? So again, I mean, and honestly, it's all a matter of respect and politeness. You know, this is probably the most important thing that I should have said first. Would you walk into somebody's house? Wow, what a dump! What a crap hole! I had to open the front door. Didn't open when I got close. There he goes again with the birth canal. But anyways, we're supposed to treat people like guests. Well, act like one. That's what I want to say to people. Act like a guest. Don't act like, I don't know, a member of a royal family somewhere. Oh, you see that door? I was standing outside for like 5 minutes waiting for somebody to open it for me. Oh, I'm all flustered. Where's my automatic toilet? But anyways, moving on to number 7. And this one, you know, this one's kind of similar to number 2, which number 2 was... Oh, the person at the hotel desk is working a job. The phone in your room is not a magic portal. Okay, Merlin did not put that phone in your room as this gateway to call the magical fairy person who's sitting in an undisclosed location. Did I say that right? You decide. Just waiting, hoping, praying, wanting, needing for you to phone them so they have something to do. I hope somebody needs a pillowcase soon. That's the only time they let me out of this room. I farted. It's horrible. Hurry, somebody need a towel, a fork, anything. Oh, there's another one. Oh, Jesus. But anyways, it's not a magic portal. So don't pick up the, oh, jeez, forgot a fork. Well, that guy down at the desk looked like he didn't have anything to do. I'm sure he'll be happy. Hello, I want a fork. I mean, fork you, bring me a fork. But, that person is probably doing a job. So every time the phone rings, you know, and again, with the whole fresh coffee thing, is it a question that you can answer yourself? What's the weather like outside? Your room has a window, right? You're not in the bunker suite, the nuclear fallout shelter suite. Look out your window. Okay, like 9.9 people nowadays have a phone. Look the weather up on it. Your room has a TV, you know, flip to the weather channel. I mean, so many people treat me at least, and this is one thing that stressed me out, like you work in a hotel, so you're just at the center of all knowledge. You know, all digital roads lead to Rome, which is my brain. I know everything. Test me. You know, I've never been on that show, what is it called, The Chase, with the Beast? You know, the big overweight man that somehow, I don't think that's even a legit show. I bet you he's got a little piece of, you know, paper. But anyways, it's not a magic gateway. You know, think before you answer questions. Answer questions. I'm going to leave that in the video because I'm all about not editing. Ask before you ask questions. Okay. Number 8. All right. I kind of mentioned this one already. Before you go, this isn't a debit card, but before you go, you know, swipe it. It's not a credit card either. You know, before you go using your debit card and your credit card in places, understand the difference between a credit and a debit and an authorization. Okay? Credit is when you got money coming to you. Usually when you spend some and, you know, and then you get a refund. Debit's when they take money. I just bought the latest, I don't know, the latest. And then they took the money. An authorization is when you buy something and it's not a charge yet, but that money's on hold because, for all intents and purposes, you're receiving some kind of product and service, so that money is going to now, it's going to go from, you know, you or your card to somebody else in compensation for that product or service. Now, a hotel usually authorizes your card because I don't know that the hotels I worked in, it wasn't in your best interest to charge anybody because they hadn't received their night's stay yet. But they have to put that money on hold, you know, so they can ensure that tomorrow when you check out, or whenever, the next day, they can get that money. Like, can you imagine if you had a card with a $100 balance and they swiped it and didn't authorize your card? Let's say your total was coming to $50 for the night. So you put your things in your room and then you run over to Best Buy and you buy $90 worth of crap. Well, now the hotel can't take the $50 because it's not there. That's why it's on hold. Okay? And don't ever use your debit card in a hotel. Because what happens is when you swipe it, it authorizes. And then when you leave, you get charged. So, don't ask me why. The gods of the debit, you know, they made it work this way. I decree that it will work this way. That was my god. But it's going to look like it's on there twice. Oh my god, they screwed me. Well, I'll show them. I'm going to give them an angry phone call right now using my debit card cell phone. That's not a cell phone either. But it's not, you haven't been charged twice. It's just that the authorization's still on there, being held, and then you got your charge. The authorization, it'll go away. I can't tell you how many times I had this conversation with people. It gets really old. That's why I'm making a video about it, to educate people, spread the word. It will go away, and I think it depends on like your financial institution, your bank or credit union or whatever, how long it's held for. It might be 2 days, might be 3 days, but so many people would call. Oh my God, you swindled me, you little crook. I'm going to get my gun and I'm going to come back there and show you what for. By gun, I mean guns. But try to understand the difference. But like they tell you to, you know, drink responsibly, gamble responsibly, drive responsibly. Well, use a card responsibly. If you don't know how to use it, you shouldn't be using one. Alright, 9. And this one's going to sound crazy, but I saved a crazy one for last. And think about what I'm asking here. This is very relevant. Don't call the hotel to make a reservation. Now, I understand we live in this day and age where we have a fascination with always wanting to talk to a person at Ground Zero who can help me with any and all questions that I might have. But the problem is, and again, when I said earlier that more and more places are realizing that they can downsize and just throw more work on the same camel. People are camels. Nice metaphor there. Is that a metaphor? I don't know. Yes, it is. I'm just going to go with it. But the problem is when you call, it's the same thing as the guy who goes, oh my God, is the coffee fresh? Like, you're stopping that person. And when you have them make your reservation, what you're really doing is you're taking all the information that you could be doing, or on your computer, because let's face it, so many people have them nowadays. The people that don't are probably lying. You know, I'd say maybe 1 out of every 100 people. You're just giving them the info so they can type it in, like you'd be doing. It's just pure laziness, honestly. In fact, if you ask me, it's more work. But if you do it, okay, because essentially that's all you're doing. You're having someone make your reservation for you. When, if you were to type it in yourself, all your info is correct. There is no chance that a mistake can be made. Your name's going to be spelled correctly. The dates that you wanted are going to be correct unless you screwed them up. Your credit card is going to be correct, or you know, maybe it's an old card, you can change it now. Or if you absolutely must talk to somebody, call a hotline. Most hotels, you know, and especially if you are a member of, you know, whatever loyalty program this hotel offers, because a lot of the big names do, you know, you probably have a dedicated hotline to your membership level. And these people, that's all they do is make your reservations. And somebody will say, well, look, I don't want to talk to them. They don't speak English. You know, they sound like they're from some other country. But you have to understand, like, we did this to ourselves. Allow me to explain. Get off track for a little bit here. Hotels, they just want money. That's all they care about. But they don't want to spend money. So they only pay bare bones to run the place. But then people come in and they want to be treated like royalty. But what the people don't understand that are checking at the hotel is they're probably people of business themselves, who in their daily lives and in their work lives make as much money as they possibly can and spend as little as they possibly can. It's like, hey, I'm not using that light, let me turn it off. It's like, well, you don't have anything to do, so you go home. I've already got, it's the same thing. Like, we do it to ourselves. We want our cake, but we don't really want to pay for it, and we don't want to pay anybody to make it, and we don't want to do it ourselves. So that's why we have people who English is not their first language, and we don't like talking to them, but that's our only option, because we've done that to ourselves. Because nobody wants to pay that person a livable wage to sit around and make reservations for people. And every time you call the hotel to take up 15 minutes of somebody's time to make your reservation, which you could be doing yourself, you're making the world a worse place. Because chances are that while you're keeping this person on the phone, their work is piling up. And that guy who wants to know if the coffee's fresh, he will stand there the whole time and glare at this clerk when he could just go do the eyeball test. Wrong eyeball! I threw in this one. Why? Oh, that's my fake one. But so with that said, I'm just going to jump right into number 10. I'm going to ad-lib number 10 here. I ad-lib the whole thing. Not that it's made up. I'm going to swear, because I think this is necessary to get my point across. Don't be an asshole. Okay? I think it's as simple as, you're a guest in a hotel, act like one. Because you know what, if I ran the show, and you better be thanking the heavens I don't, I'd throw people out. And your business would crumble, you'd close, nobody'd stay there. But honestly, here's the problem, I think. For every hotel that isn't willing to, lick your boots, there's a hotel that is. And the problem is everybody's going to flock there because we're all about gratification. And like a child getting away with something or, getting candy as a reward, we're going to go back. We're going to remember that. Oh, wow, they kissed my ass while I was there. Oops, swore again. And I think that's unfortunate. Because if every hotel out there was like, you know what, you don't get to treat my workforce like that, good luck. American society would be a better place. And I think it's a shame. But I really think that that's probably the most important thing. Don't be a jerk. If you expect to be treated with kindness, treat that person behind the desk with kindness. It's the quickest. I'll give you another secret. Killing someone with kindness is the best way to get what you want. Even if you don't mean it. Go ahead and manipulate somebody. See how easy it is. I had an old lady call me one time. I was on the phone with her a half hour just to make a reservation. But you know what? She was the sweetest old lady I had ever spoken with in my life. So it was like there was strings behind me. She's like, watch this. She played me. I did everything that she asked for while I was on the phone with her. And I was happy to do it because she was like a relic. It was like the living relic of kindness that should have died like 10 years ago, but it didn't. She just happens to be in that 90 to 100 range, home stretch for her. But it worked. And I wish more people could have been like her, but whatever, it's 2015? That's another side effect of getting old, but I'll save that for another day. Anyways, this is Brock Shake, shining. Woohoo, here's Johnny. Signing off. Bang zoom. Getting out of here. Hope this video helps. Share it, like it. If you think it was insightful. I know it's a little long, but there's a lot to cover in here. Moral of the story is, be nice. Alright? You'll make the U.S. a better place. See you later, citizens.